Intelligence in Education by V. Pattabhi Ram, author, public speaker, and teacher. Can we please have you on stage, sir? A big round of applause, everybody.
Good afternoon to all of you, and thank you, Elets, for having me here today to speak on a topic that's very, very close to our hearts in terms of how artificial intelligence is going to affect education. In a very small way, maybe I might be the odd man out here. I don't come exactly from an educational institution in the sense that I'm a chartered accountant in practice. But I must also say that across the last 20 plus years, I've taught chartered accounting students every day, day after day, from 6:15 to 8:45 in the morning, 365 days a year, last 20 plus years. So to that extent, I think what I bring to the table, I believe, could be significantly relevant. The last 25 years, 1997 to 2022, has been remarkable. The arrival of the internet, along with its close cousins, the Google, the social media, the Gmail, and all that have completely transformed the way that all of us do business and all of us have led our personal lives. Thanks to social media, for example, just to take one example, thanks to social media, for instance, today, people like me, and I'm sure people like you as well, are able to connect to our friends in school whom we thought have all been lost long years ago. But what we saw in the last 25 years, while exciting, is only a trailer, because the big story is now beginning to evolve. What we are going to see in the next 25 years, between 2022 leading up to 2047, leading up to 2050, is going to be tsunamic. And in that context, I would like to tell you that two of us, Dr. Anbuthambi from Larsen and Toubro and I, along with a set of people, have come out with a book called India in 2047 that's set to be released on the 2nd of November 2022, 1 month from today. A book where 25 different people have looked at 25 distinct areas, and they have been mentored by some of the who's who in industry. And it has a foreword written by Dr. Devi Shetty, the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan awardee, and the chairman of the Narayana Health Group. Why I gave that piece of information is to drive home the point that one of the sections that we talk about there is education. One of the small areas that we talk there is about AI. And one of the still smaller sections that we talk about in AI is how teaching is going to get affected. The old belief has always been, the traditional belief has always been that routine, repetitive, boring jobs will get automated. All of us in the field of education, for example, know that examinations will get automated, including essay writing exams. For example, the graduate record exam grades even essays by itself. Why? My own institute, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, has slowly moved on to grading essays via automation, looking distinctly at that possibility. That's something that all of us know. None of us are going to feel challenged by that. But all of us here who are into teaching is going to get challenged, because we have always held the view that personalized roles that require empathy will be safe. People have always believed that teaching is not going to get automated. People have always believed that teachers, scientists, storytellers, psychiatrists, they are all not going to be replaced by humanoids. I beg to differ. And that's going to be the crux of what I'm going to talk to you today. There is a very distinct possibility that's increasingly emerging where AI could actually begin to teach. And how is this going to happen? This does not mean that every teacher is going to get thrown out of business, but this is going to mean that the star teachers, the outstanding teachers, people like, I'm just giving a couple of names, people like C.K. Prahlad, now no longer there. When he speaks, the world listens. Now, those kind of teachers are now going to be available across the world. They're going to be available across the world because they're going to appear as holograms. You've seen the Prime Minister of India speak. You're in almost much the same way going to see holograms taking place, which means that if you are a teacher who, like one of the panelists, I think it was Dr. Maran, who said, if you don't update yourself, if you don't upgrade yourself, then you are likely to be thrown out by the tsunami of change that's going to hit the field of education, and that's beginning to hit the field of education. The outstanding teachers, the ones who, what should I say, who create stories, who are able to explain concepts not the way that they are written in textbooks, they are going to stay. Because if you're going to say, for instance, what is Newton's third law of motion, and if I were a student sitting in a classroom, I'll say, sir, I'll read that from your textbook. Now tell me, how does Newton's third law of motion work in real life? How does it work in the context of, say, a cricket match? I'm maybe shooting in the dark, but I might say, how does it work in real life? And that's the kind of engaging stories that star teachers bring out of their experience. Those are the teachers that are going to stay. Teachers who say every action has an equal and opposite reaction are not going to stay. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, going to be the biggest challenge. You don't have to take my word for it. No, you don't have to take my word for it. I'll give you an example. I do a lot of writing. So I'll tell you something that has happened in the world of writing. There's a software, I don't know, I've been using it for the last 7 years, something that's called Grammarly. It's really remarkable. You don't have to go to a professional proofreader to get your grammar right. Once upon a time, we all thought that grammar, English grammar in particular, is something only the experts can pick up. And that's now automated. And I use Grammarly, and trust me when I tell you that Grammarly does an extraordinarily wonderful job. You're all into examinations. You're all into thesis guiding. So you would know probably a software called Scribd. It does plagiarism check like nobody does. It's not just plagiarism. It also identifies what paragraphs have been paraphrased. Now, if something as outstanding or as creative or as personalized like writing can get automated, it's going to happen in teaching as well. Today, for example, I don't remember the name of the softwares. Today, for example, you just have to key in a few keywords. You'll have to suggest a few incidents, and the story gets written. You then have to only fine-tune it to meet what requirements you want. So what I'm trying to drive at is that if creative areas like teaching can actually get automated, teaching will also get automated. That's the burden of my song. I'll very quickly run you through 5 key trends that are taking place in the world of education, partly because of AI, partly because of automation, and all of this got accentuated, like the Vice Chancellor of the Mother Teresa University said, all of this got accentuated with the arrival of COVID. When the history of modern world is written, I think COVID will be a landmark event. And 25 years from today, we are all going to thank COVID. I know it sounds odd. Yes, it has destroyed a lot of lives. It has killed a lot of people. But in its own little way, it has actually accentuated the arrival of technology. In the years ahead, self-learning is going to be on the rise. Today, there are many people who learn on YouTube. There's going to be, in the morning, somebody made a reference. I don't know who on the panel made a reference to flipped learning, where a student reads, comes into the class, and then the teacher acts as an explainer rather than as someone who reads out a voice. So self-learning is going to be on the rise. Blended learning is going to take place. A lot of courses, there was also a reference today about choice-based credit scheme. I'll go one step further to say maybe we'll have a basket of courses. Some of those courses are going to be self-learned. Some of those courses are going to be flip-learned. And some of those courses are going to be learned in a classroom in the form of workshops. Online laboratories, the days when you don't have to actually turn up in a physics lab or a chemistry lab or a biology lab, have already begun, and it's only a matter of time before they get accelerated. As a result of which, what will happen is that boys and girls who live, I think, One of you made a reference to being not just in a tier 3 city, but in a tier 4 or a tier 5 place where you don't have access to the best of technologies. Online labs are going to provide you with a kind of labs that the best and brightest institutions have. There was also a reference today about, yes, a teacher teaches. Can it be heard in different languages? That's already on. That's already begun. And that, like she raised that question, will be the order of the day 5 years from today. That is going to be extremely normal. So you speak in English, a classroom where somebody wants to listen in Tamil listens in Tamil, somebody who wants to listen in Telugu listens in Telugu, somebody wants to listen in Bengali listens in Bengali. Exams, anytime, anywhere, thanks to AI, thanks to automation, is already on. I'm now going to move on to the very last part of my conversation. I'm going to try to tell you, because I saw here lots of owners of universities, vice chancellors of universities. Today there is a tendency to agglomerate everything. I own admission, I own teaching, I own examinations, I own also giving out certificates. When I say own, you are the owner as a university of everything. But my personal view, my personal sense is that most of these lines on the value chain will get done by different entities, different institutions. That's an idea which is definitely going to come, and that is going to be accentuated largely because automation makes a world of difference. I'm now moving on to the penultimate part. Now, when OTT came, people said, hey, there is nothing more exciting than being in a theater. Long years ago, when cricket matches were relayed live, I told myself, hey, there is nothing like going to Chepauk and watching it. Chepauk still excites, or Eden Garden still excites, but most of us watch on television. Today, for example, not necessarily everybody goes to the theater. There's lots of people who are learning OTT. And that's going to happen in education also. You might say, hey, what is this guy saying at 4:30 on a Thursday evening? But believe me, many people, especially in higher learning and in corporate learning, are going to prefer the OTT route to education rather than the theater route. This is what I broadly wanted to tell you. But hearing all of you this morning speak about the importance of skills, seeing what all of you in education have been trying to say about how it is so very important that all students must get themselves skilled. Hearing you talk about how much you have done to your universities, I then quickly added these two as the last part of my talk. This was a book that I wrote along with Dr. Anbuthambi and got released immediately after, got released in the course of the pandemic. It's called The Post-Pandemic Graduate. It talks about many things that you guys have actually told. And I think that far more important than people like you and I, people in the teaching community knowing, parents knowing, it's important that the student gets to know. It's important that the student understands it, assimilates it right from the time that he gets into college. In the course of the last 1 year, we have sold close to 9,000 copies. A couple of institutions who are here, KPR, College of Technology, KSR, College of Technologies, have also been bulk buyers. I would invite you to take a look at it, because not because we wrote it, not because that's sold at a price, but because of the fact that it is very, very, very important that students, when they come in right at the beginning, must know what they must do and do that across the several semesters that they are with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll very quickly summarize what I said. I said the last 25 years have been extraordinary thanks to the arrival of the internet. I also said that the next 25 years is going to be more exciting, and the people who are going to make their career during the next 25 years are really, really blessed. That's a period where automation, artificial intelligence, and machine learning will rule along with man. And let us not think that any field, including the most creative of them, including the field of education, will not get hit by that onslaught. It's very, very important for all of us to be ready for the coming tsunami. Thank you very much for hearing me out this evening. Thank you.
Sir have rightly put all the thoughts across on the artificial intelligence role in education. A big round of applause for sir, please. Now I would like to request Abhishek Tomar, Senior Manager, Elets Technomedia, to please give the memento.